A very good evening to you and welcome to Power Brief. Tonight we do a special edition focusing on the roadmap to referendum that has been scheduled to be in the year 2021 from the month of April to June. Mr. Cyrus Liswa, a policy and political analyst, is back in studio tonight to help us go through this process, looking into the legal and political implications that comes about by this approach. My name is Cornelius Omuse and I welcome you to join us in this conversation that is coming at a time that the country and the global context is facing a number of challenges, especially the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember, this conversation is also live on our Facebook page, CAC TV Kenya, and our YouTube channel is CAC TV Kenya. Mr. Liswa, welcome tonight on Power Brief one more time.
Thank you.
How have you been?
I've been well. Traversing the country, western back.
I can see, and even stamina is increasing. So a number of things are happening, and straight away tonight we are doing a special edition actually to focus on this issue of the referendum, all that is associated with it and all that comes about with it. But before then, there is this call especially coming from the Council of Governors, where they're really putting a number of blames on political gatherings and also people going into bars, restaurants, and also the curfew time, since it was extended from 9 p.m. to 11 a.m. Briefly, what is your take on this thing?
I maintain my stand. And it is very ironical when the Council of Governors come and say the surge of COVID-19 has been caused by the political class or the political rallies. Who are they? Who are they? Are they cabinet secretaries? Are they teachers? Are they doctors? These are politicians who belong to the same political class, who have held rallies even in their own areas. We've seen them. So when they come and talk of the political rallies that have made the COVID surge there, then it becomes ironical. What I expect from the Council of Governors and the central government headed by the president is very clear. We need to know the number of hospitals that are there to manage the COVID cases. We need to know the equipments that are in place to carry out tests of COVID-19 patients. We need to know how many specialists are there, to help us manage the COVID-19 infections in the country. I don't expect to hear an announcement from the president and the Council of Governors that there's a lockdown. One, there's a cessation of movements. Two, there is a curfew that is going to be imposed. No. What I need to hear is the accountability of the funds that we've been given by the donor countries, the funds that we're going to pay as Kenyans through our own taxes, not the cessation of movement.
So according to you, the issue of the cessation of movement.
No, I want to get the accountability of the monies that the country was given. I want to hear the roadmap to a healing nation, the roadmap to manage the health institutions in this country, not the cessation of movement. Now, why am I objecting the cessation of movement? Why am I objecting the curfew thing? When we went to curfew, we had around 58 cases. There were not even 100. But when we went to curfew, after curfew, the cases started increasing. Nothing has been managed since then. The counties, the funds have been disbursed to the counties, but there's no accountability. There's no governor who has come out to say, this is the money that have been given by the central government on COVID issues, and this is what we've done. This is the isolation centers that we've set in place. This is the ICU beds that we have. This is the ICU machines that we have. This is the test kits that we have. All these are the masks that we are going to distribute to our students, to our villagers who don't afford that mask, and then and other things.
Thank you, Mr.
So
Cyrus.
it will be very improper and very unfair for the government to come and shut down the nation. Remember, we are depending on this economy. Okay? We are depending on this. We depend on the transport sector, those people like me who travel to Western, okay, and others. We are depending on the markets, okay? We are depending entirely on trade, whether being transport, whether in whatever sector. And we need to boost our economy. Remember, also another thing, companies have closed down. There's a shutdown of companies. Institutions have shut down, which means those people who used to work there, okay, are now jobless. There are schools, private schools, around 78 in Nairobi or so, that have shut down. There will be no schooling in those institutions because these people have decided to do other businesses and not schooling. How many students or how many pupils will come 2021 will lack where to go to get education?
There's a catch-22 situation there.
Listen, how many pupils, how many students will lack where to go for education? And how many teachers are rendered jobless? KQ is going to lay off almost 300 employees by the end of the year. Where will they go afterwards? Banks are laying off because of shutdown and other institutions. So we are going to have an increase in unemployment, okay, unlike before. So what the country should be looking at right now, the managers of this country should be looking at this at the moment, is how we are going to manage the high unemployment rate that has been caused by the COVID-19.
Let's see what will win between the economy and the lives, as a number of our opinion shapers are trying to bring up now. On our tonight's topic, what happened on Monday in Naivasha, where we had the president and his team unveiling the report and also the timelines on what is going to happen. And tonight we are glad you're here with us so that we can be able to take our viewers through on a number of issues that are actually surrounding this issue of the referendum. And the first process that actually came out from this timeline is a public outreach and signature collection that was scheduled from 2nd November this year, that is 2 days ago, to 2nd December 2020. And Mr. Liswa will take us through to understand what these signatures for, how are they done, and what is its relevance as far as conducting a referendum is concerned in a country like ours, Kenya.
One thing that I want to highlight is this. The people who went to Naivasha went there just to waste resources and the taxpayers' money. Because
with a justification, you have to justify.
Yes, I have to. Why am I saying so? On Sunday, MPs allied to the BBI, who were championing the BBI, they were somewhere in Dagoretti in a church. And Maina Commander laid it out. We are going to collect signatures from tomorrow.
That is Monday.
It was a Sunday.
Now, the next day.
Now, they are going to collect signatures from tomorrow. It is already something that is already decided on. So what were they going to do in Naivasha? What were they going to do in Naivasha? It's a question that we need to ask. And that's why I say it was a waste of public resources and the taxpayers' money. That's where I come from. That's my angle. And another thing is that, yes, giving us a roadmap of signature collection and whatever, yes, it's fine. And I remember on the Sunday talk when Commander said that getting 1 million signatures in Nairobi is not a big issue. Yes, it's not a big issue. They'll get. It's easier to get.
So my question that really I want to bring to you, Mr. Liswa, tonight is whether since that 2nd of November to where we are, I understand from morning you've told me where you've been, the movements that you've made. Have you been approached by any individuals purporting to be collecting signatures for this exercise, or you're just maybe it's happening elsewhere?
I can say I'm among the millions of Kenyans in Nairobi. So I have not been approached by anyone.
Neither have you seen
Neither have I seen any form, or have I had anyone who has signed the form or the signature for the referendum. And what I can say is that if the process has begun, it's fine.
So do
We
you
wait for the outcome.
Do you see a possibility, just from Maina Commander Mheshimiwa's words, that we're beginning on Monday, and then on Monday from the timelines, it is indicated that it is to begin on 2nd. Do you think, or do you see a possibility of signatures being forged from elsewhere?
I cannot allude that signatures are going to be forged. Why? As I stated, I'm just among the million people in Nairobi. Okay? The population of Nairobi is around 4 million and above. Okay? So, a million, I'm among the people who are totals up to a million. So, I might not be among the people who could have signed the paper or who will sign the document.
Which is not a must, and
Okay?
it's not
Yes.
anywhere.
Yes, it's not a must. And I cannot take this to 2015, where we had Okoa Kenya. Okoa Kenya and BBI are two different things, at different times, at different management system. Why am I saying so? The Okoa Kenya was being pushed and spearheaded by CORD, Coalition for Reforms and Democracy, which was being headed by the former Premier, Raila Odinga.
Whom you call the people's president most of the time.
And then we have Ford Kenya, Moses Wetangula, and we had Kalonzo Musyoka. These are the people who are spearheading the CORD on the Okoa Kenya thing. Come to 20, these events are different. Come to 2020 right now, when we are pushing for the BBI thing, which is being spearheaded by the team of Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Wetangula, Mudavadi, and the rest. Okay. Then we have the other side, the president. And like before, the president was not on the other side; he was opposing it. And these, we may not find discrepancy in the signatures right now, because this is a state, it's a state activity. It's a state affair. So finding discrepancy, no. Where I just find malice is when we talk of IBC. The IBC that we throw stones at are the same IBC that are going to verify the signatures. The IBC that we talk of that is not fully mandated to perform any functions is the same IBC that we go to for verification of the signatures. The same IBC that conducts our by-elections, and no one cries fall of it.
That will come.
No one laments about it.
Final submission.
But it's the same IBC that we are going to face, okay, for the verification of the signatures. And we shall believe in the report it shall give.
You'll tell us towards the end whether we can still rely in the current IBC as constituted to oversee this referendum, or something else should happen. Now, the second procedure that has to be adhered here is to prepare and submit signatures and bill to IBC. That is scheduled from 2nd December to 9th of December. And then IBC verifies the signatures. This activity will take place on 10th of December 2021. What are the possibilities, maybe looking into some of the intrigue surrounding this thing? What are the possibilities of such a body verifying 1 million signatures in a day? You're a mathematician. I like that, because you're an auditor.
Fine.
What is the mathematical probability of it?
The probability is, let me give it at around 9 to 10. Why? Remember, before signatures, it's just like you are asking me, we're going to have an election. How will the votes be counted in a day? It's possible.
You see,
remember, let me just take you through. Yeah. Why am I saying so? We have IBC in each and every county. True or false? So before
sub-county also.
That's why I said county. It's counties, let me say the 47 counties. And then when you go to the 47 counties, we have sub-counties.
The constituencies.
The constituencies, where IBC has offices. Okay? Before something comes to the national office. It has been submitted to the local office, okay, for verification, okay, for it to come to the, and at the constituency office, at the constitutional level, we have officers, the IBC officers, who are mandated to carry out those responsibilities, those duties, okay? So they have a task to do it. It is their responsibility to carry out that task. So we cannot say, in fact, we need it even not, it should not even go beyond 1 day. Something that should be conducted in 1 day or 2 days, if it goes a maximum. For example, America are going for an election. They went for an election yesterday. The results are in right now. We are ready. We are yet to determine who's the winner. Okay, America is bigger than even this Kenya. Okay, so we cannot say that it is incompetent. It is competent enough to deliver the results even in a day. So as we are given time, if somebody has a question, someone who wants to run to court to challenge the decision, he has that time to run to court and challenge the decision. And like you are given, let me say like 3 days, okay, or some days too, then you don't have even time to run to challenge the decision.
Still on that, Mr. Liswa, there's cries coming outside there about the issue of awareness, that a lot hasn't been invested on matters awareness. You remember during the Okoa Kenya bill, where you could find that some signatures, mtu amechora ng'ombe, mwingine amechora sijui punda. There are so many funny things which led the IBC, as per their statement, to disqualify that it didn't meet the threshold of 1 million signatures.
You see?
Do you think, or from your analysis, has much awareness exercise been done in regard to this, as the country is actually moving to a referendum?
What kind of awareness do you get during an election period?
When you, this is not an election.
Fine.
Remember, this is a referendum,
and
where people will be asked to either say yes.
What is a referendum?
Making a decision.
Making a decision through what?
Making a decision
through what?
Through voting. And
yes.
here you vote.
And it's an election.
You either vote
yes.
for or against.
It is.
But remember, in an election, when Cyrus is vying for Governor Bungoma County,
yes.
another candidate,
yes.
and another candidate,
now,
and another candidate.
Cornelius.
You see, this is a special approach of people making a decision.
Cornelius.
Not electing.
We are not going to make a decision through acclamation. Okay? We are going to make a decision through the ballot. Okay? And through the ballot, the IBC are the ones in charge. If it is through acclamation, people will be called at Nyayo Stadium or Kasarani and say, ile kura ya makelele. Nani unasema hii iko sawa? Hey! Sasa namna hiyo. But this is not acclamation. This is a voting process, an election for a referendum. Okay? It is just an election. The only difference is there's a general election and this is a referendum. Okay? Or there's a by-election and now this is a referendum. A referendum where we are talking about the constitutional change. Okay? That's when a referendum comes in. Anything to do with constitutional change, we talk of referendum. Anything to do with change of office or electing our leaders, that's called an election, either by-election or a general election. That's where we elect our leaders and subsequent to any other things. But whenever it touches to constitution, anything to do with constitutional amendments, constitutional changes, this calls for a referendum.
Thanks to that level. Now, Mr. Cyrus, after the verifying of signatures, because it's something that you really wish you to highlight our viewers about it, this bill will be submitted to the IBC now. From the IBC, it will go to the county assemblies. That's from 11th January 2021 to 18th of January 2021. And then the fifth process will be county assemblies approve the bill, and then 19th January 2021 to 19th February 2021. Those are the timelines. And then the sixth process now, it will be Parliament votes on bill timeously. That is from 20th of February 2020 to 5th of April 2021. That is if they agree. And then the seventh one is IBC holds referendum within the legal timeline, 6th April 2021, 6th June 2021. And then now it will be followed by the 8th process, that is the president assigned to amendments from 7th of June 2021 to 14th of June 2021. This is something, as you've said, it's a decision that Kenyans will make, whether after having been circulated with the copies, whether the content of this report will please them or not, and other factors. Now, let's look into this, Mr. Cyrus, now, when this bill is submitted to the county assemblies, and then it fails to raise the minimum or the threshold of the support from the county assemblies.
We still go back to the 2010 constitution, whereby they say that you need to win at least 25 from 25 counties, which I say it is possible, but for a debate in the county assembly, the timeline, I believe it's minimal, because at times there's no quorum for voting on a bill. The motion is adjourned. Now, the question that I'm asking myself is that what mechanisms have they put in place to ensure that the quorum, each and every county assembly meets the threshold of the quorum for the bill to pass through? Because we've seen many motions that have been adjourned due to lack of quorum, even in the National Assembly. There are many motions, even the gender bill. Why has it not gone through until to date? It's because of the quorum issues. They don't meet the threshold. So if such things are addressed, then I think it is fine. But if it's all about rubber stamping the thing without discussing it and interrogating the bill, then that's a different case. Because there's a way, maybe you can just say this is my stronghold. It has, I know it will pass. Okay, but where men of intellect, men with the decorum, will sit down to interrogate the bill, I think the timeline is very minimal, and I don't know why we are rushing so much and giving very little timeline on such an important thing. I believe we should have enough time to discuss and interrogate the bill, especially when it comes to the counties. Let each and every member of county assembly go through it, interrogate it, let them raise concerns that are raised. You saw even yesterday leaders of the pastoral community saying that our views were not captured in these amendments. So what we need to do is now that such a concerns have been raised, we need to have their views now debated on in the parliament, in the county assemblies respectively. Like, let me say, those pastoralists in their respective county assemblies, it is their time to now air their views there.
Thank you. Let's now move to the National Assembly.
Yes, and raise any amendments that they seem not to have been captured in the report, so that to harmonize the bill and give it more strength.
Thank you, Mr. Liswa. Now, finally, when the bill gets to the National Assembly, that is when now Parliament comes in to vote either to adopt it or to not to adopt it. We wish really to get your parting shot to all stakeholders. You're hearing Ruto talking of if mtaleta kiburi, sijui na majivuno na nini, we'll stop reggae. Others talking of, it seems there are other divergent views on how this thing should be conducted, what should happen. But those who are behind it says that the windows, the doors, and even every other openings were much more wider during those days, and nobody showed up. Your parting shot to the nation, to everyone who BBI or the constitution change concerns, what do you think should be done?
We are in a democratic nation, and this is a democratic process. And in democracy, it has never been fair in one way or the other.
Even in America, where
there's nowhere democracy will satisfy each and everyone. Democracy is there to make others satisfied and others not satisfied. And the parliament being the the law-making organ, this is where now we expect to see those debates in Parliament, or people raising concerns of how they want, what they want deleted, and what they want added in Parliament. This is the time now you see those people aligned to the Deputy President, and those people aligned to the President, and those people aligned to, let me say, the former Prime Minister, Raila Amolo Odinga, and those aligned to people like Musalia Mudavadi, who also have their divergent views. They support it, but they have their divergent views. Now we want to see how the debate will be carried out in the Parliament. This is now the time we need to hear that serious debate on the constitutional matters. Okay? Remember, I have questioned many a times the Constitutional Implementation Committee that was handed over to the Parliament, and it has done nothing. And that's why we are in this limbo. If the Parliament can carry out their mandate the way they are expected to carry out their mandate, then we can never be in such a constitutional limbo as we are in today. Because I don't see anything. The only thing that the BBI has created is...
30 seconds, my brother.
Yes. It has not created positions as we perceive or people perceive. BBI is just, you see, for example, the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, these are the majority leaders in Parliament, the Chief Whip, and the rest. And then the office of the opposition leader. It has it has been created well. So this is a person who will be there also to air his views, okay, in the Parliament, so that they are well articulated. So let each and everyone play their role. Let us, within the timelines, let us allow further amendments. Let us allow deletion and addition.
Thank you very much.
On the document.
That's been a wonderful presentation from Mr. Cyrus Liswa, who is a political analyst and also a policy analyst. We've taken our time having this special edition looking into the timelines and the roadmap to the referendum that has been scheduled in the year 2021, the month of June. We appreciate your overwhelming responses on our social media platforms, and here on Power Brief we shall continue updating you and ensuring your participation on matters of politics and governance. From me, Cornelius Omuse, I wish you a very good night.